Hello everyone, and welcome back to Gander Gardening with Dawn. Today is October the 30th, and although there are still lots of blooms in my garden and we still haven't had a killing frost here in my Zone 5A garden, yesterday I started the process of digging up my dahlia tubers. In this video, I talk about how I dig up my dahlia tubers, usually in late October, how I wash them down well with a hose, leave them in the sun to dry, and then leave them to dry completely for at least 24 hours. And then I carefully divide them, wrap them in plastic wrap, and store them over the winter. So if you're interested in that process, stick around. Dahlia, this one is Lilac Bull, and I have removed most of the soil around the top that I could easily remove, and I've cut the stem down and all the leaves off, and now I'm going to use a garden fork. I stopped watering these a while ago so that the soil would be lighter and easier to remove. And I'm just tossing the foliage over here, and I'll be putting that on the compost pile later. But the next thing I'm going to do is dig this one out with a fork. So here is the dahlia now that I have dug it out, and I'm going to pull off most of this soil from the tuber, and I'm going to put it in the sun, rinse it off with a hose, and let it dry. And here is possibly my favorite dahlia, and it's again growing in a grow bag, and this one is Lark's Ebb, and it kind of breaks my heart to cut this one back right now, because just look at all the buds and this beautiful flower here that would be coming out soon. But this is October the 29th, and I'm going to be busy and it's going to get a lot colder, so I'd rather do it now. But here's Lark's Ebb with most of the soil pulled out, and I'm going to get this one out now and shake off more soil. Here are my tubers, all washed, looking good, and drying in the sun. And I will let them dry for 24 hours before the next step. And my favorite, which is Lark's Ebb, this one here, I have two. This one's looking good, but this one is looking magnificent, and I'm really, really excited about all the tubers that I have of this one for next year. Now I'm in my kitchen, and I have all of the dahlias here in these crates, and I'm going to be taking them out one by one and then dividing them and wrapping them in plastic wrap. So I'm going to go around to the other side of the table and do that and show you what that process looks like. This is the dahlia that I'm going to start with, and if you look really closely you can see LE right here, and that's actually the mother tuber. All of these tubers grew from that one this summer, and so what I do after I separate each one, I do write something on there with permanent marker, and as you can see, very often it will last right through the summer. And so what you need for a successful tuber, you need to have the body, that's this part right here. You need to have the neck, which is the part that connects the body to the top. And you need to have some of the part of the stem, especially if there's an eye on it. And I can tell that there's going to be a couple of eyes right here on this part. So I'm going to make sure that I get some of this, the neck, and the body. And if the neck breaks, as in the case of this one is not viable because the neck has to be in one piece. And right here, you might be able to see better this tuber. And here's the neck. There are very clearly a couple of eyes. It may be hard for you to see, but they're just little bumps right here. So I'm going to try to make sure that I get some of that with this one. So with every clump like this, if I could get 3 or 4, I would be very happy. And some of the larger clumps, I should be able to get more. So I'm using my snips, and I cleaned these before I started with some rubbing alcohol, and I'm also using just a couple of very sharp kitchen knives, and that should hopefully do the trick. So wish me luck. The first thing I'm going to do is cut off these tubers that are broken. There's 2 of them. There's another one right here because they are not viable and they're just in the way. And then I'm going to cut down this stem because that's also in the way. And now we're left with something here that we can see a little bit better. And there's one here, there's a tuber here and a tuber here, and both of these look really good. So I'm first going to try to get this more narrow tuber. And I'm going to be cutting some from the side here. And then I'm going to use the knife and cut across right here. You have to be careful and take your time. You don't want to cut yourself. Much more important would be better to lose a tuber than to give yourself a bad cut. So just be careful when you do this process. Now, here we have an excellent tuber. I'm going to cut off this little bit of root on the end because that's just going to get in the way. So here we have an ideal tuber. Here's the tuber, there's the neck, and I can actually see 2 little eyes on that part. So now I'm going to write with my marker L-E for Lark's Ebb, because that's the type of dahlia that this is, L-E. So I know that means Lark's Ebb. And the next thing is to wrap the tuber very tightly in plastic wrap. That's why this one is called the saran wrap method. This method, even though I'm not using saran wrap, I'm using Glad, any kind of wrap that is nice and clingy. Cling wrap would also do the trick. And you want to wrap it up so that it is airtight. Here we go. And cushioned somewhat as well. And then I store these inside a cardboard box, inside a very large paper bag. It's at the end of the table right here. And I put them in my garage. And I keep them there where the temperature stays 8 degrees or above. During the winter time, about from 8 to 10 degrees. Right now, it's probably about 14 or 15 degrees there, and that's Celsius. So 8 to 10 would be about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me try to get the other one. That's right next door to that tuber and looking really, really good. I think I have that one no problem just by cutting through right here. Yep. And I'm going to cut off some of these bits that are on the bottom because they're of no use. And I'm going to, before I do anything else, write L-E. And again, let's make sure the top is nice and tidy. Here's another perfect tuber. LE, Lark's Ebb. We have the body, we have the neck, and there are several eyes on this piece right here. That's where the shoots will come from next year. So I'm going to continue and work on this one. That first small clump of Lark's Ebb dahlias, I got 5. And just a little hint, the mother tuber, which was the one that all of these grew from this year, this one was stored over the winter between 2024 and planted in 2023. Throw these away. These have already done their duty, and they generally don't grow as well the next year. It turns out that I have 23 of these Lark's Ebb dahlia tubers. And from one cafe au lait, I have 5 tubers. And also I wanted to point out that sometimes when 2 tubers are together like this, and I can only see one eye between them, I don't separate them. I keep them together. So I've got 5 out of one cafe au lait, and out of one lilac bull, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, here's another instance where 2, and I could only see one good eye, so I did not separate them, and I will wrap these in plastic and save them together. And a little bit of dirt here and there, that really doesn't matter at all. Here are 3 Mr. Optimus tubers that I got from one plant, and you can notice that these are a lot darker than these, and that's just the way that they are. I noticed that in years previous, but 3 Mr. Optimus. And here are 2 of my red dahlias. These are a dahlia that I grew from seed a few years ago, and I've been saving it ever since. And oddly enough, the dahlia that will grow from the large one may be exactly the same size or even smaller than the one that will grow from the tiny one. It doesn't work that way, which is very strange. These tubers are just to get them started in the spring, and then they will get all of their nourishment from the soil and the sun, just like all other plants. So 3 Mr. Optimus, 2 my red, and 3 Viking. And here is one that I just wanted to show you. There are 3 here that I did not separate because you can see the bumps. Let me try to focus. Here we go. You can see the bumps in the middle there. Those are the eyes, and I wasn't really sure how to divide this one, so I'm going to leave it all together and wrap this one up in plastic just the way it is. So you don't have to divide each one right down to one tuber, one body of a tuber. You can leave them together if that works better for you, particularly if you don't want as many of that variety. From 2 Evelyn dahlias, I got 13 tubers. And here they all are, sort of like frozen chicken legs. And I have them wrapped in plastic and layers of paper between each one. And then I'll be placing this box into a large paper bag and putting it out in my garage. After several hours of pretty fun, I guess, but also a little bit tiring work, I have this huge bag of dahlias, and I'll be placing these now in my garage, and fingers crossed that they will be in good shape for next year. Wish me luck.